That was Credence Clearwater Revival with Fortunate Son. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for June 14th through June 21st, 2021. Before we begin our weekly review, family and friends are looking for help in finding a missing U.S. veteran with special needs. 25-year-old Ebony Holliday was reported missing on June 18th from her home in Dalton. She had left her home between 2:30 to 4:30 a.m. before boarding bus number 353 near the Citgo gas station on 154th near Thorn Ridge Road around 6:30 a.m. She was last seen Monday morning boarding a bus near 95th and the Dam Ryan. Holliday requires daily medication and suffers from schizophrenia. She had not taken her medication and left home without money, her wallet, or cell phone, and according to family, has never left home in this condition before. She recently shaved her head and was last seen wearing a black and beige tie-dye hoodie, rose pants, a black shirt, white Crocs, and a gray and black backpack. She is described as 5'4" and weighs around 135 pounds. The family is offering a $1,000 reward for her safe return. Anyone who sees her is asked to call 911, the Dalton Police Department at 708-841-2533, or family at 708-849-4466. And now to the news. On Friday, 3 men were wounded in an East Side shooting. Around 8 p.m., the men were traveling in a vehicle eastbound on 100th and Indianapolis Boulevard. According to police, someone began firing shots at the vehicle, hitting the men inside. News stations report that a red sedan was seen taped off near 100th and Commercial and likely the vehicle the men were driving in. An 18-year-old was shot in the backside. A 21-year-old was hit in the right arm. A 22-year-old was hit in the leg and taken to University of Chicago Medical Center. The other 2 men were taken to Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. All 3 were last reported in stable condition. Anyone with information on this or other Chicago crimes can report information by calling 311 or leave an anonymous tip at cpdtip.com. A shooting near South Shore Hospital in South Chicago on Friday left 2 men critically wounded. Police report that the 2 men were standing outside on a 2300 block of East 80th Street around 6:58 p.m. According to reports, they were approached by an unknown person who showed them a gun and began firing shots. Both men were struck in the back. They were taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. A bicyclist was injured in a South Shore shooting on Thursday. According to reports, a 39-year-old man was riding a bike around 2:55 a.m. near 71st and Bennett. 2 suspects were standing on a corner when they saw a third person and began firing shots at them. The 39-year-old was caught in the crossfire and hit in the head, upper, and lower body. He was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center and last reported in critical condition. Another South Shore shooting on Sunday left a man injured. Around 6:28 p.m., a 45-year-old man was standing in the doorway of his home on the 7600 block of South Euclid. According to reports, a man he knew approached him and fired shots. The man was not struck by gunfire as police initially suspected, but instead hit by shards of glass that struck him in the back. News reports did not release the name of the hospital he was taken to. He was, however, last reported in critical condition. On Saturday, a 28-year-old was wounded in Calumet Heights near Trinity Hospital. According to reports, around 5:30 a.m., the man walked into Trinity Hospital with a wound to the upper right arm. The man was reportedly shot in the 9300 block of South Phillips Avenue in Calumet Heights. However, it is unclear whether this is exactly where the shooting occurred. According to police, he was uncooperative and unwilling to share information about the incident. He was last reported in stable condition. A shooting in Jeffrey Manor on Saturday left 2 men injured. The men were walking on the sidewalk on the 2500 block of East 95th Place. According to reports, a BMW driving down the street slowed down as it approached the men and began firing shots. The men, ages 35 and 62, were struck. The 62-year-old man was shot in the right hand and the 34-year-old man in the right leg. Both of the men were taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center and last reported in fair condition. Also on Saturday, around 11:22 p.m., another 28-year-old man went to Trinity Hospital with a gunshot wound. There are few details on the shooting, however, or where it occurred. News stations report that the man suffered a gunshot wound to the left leg. He was last listed in fair condition. In other news, a Calumet City man is facing charges following a road rage incident in Frankfort on Wednesday. According to police, 21-year-old Antoine Berry fired a single gunshot at another driver, following the incident that occurred on Route 30 and LaGrange Road. Police were able to locate Berry from plate information provided by a witness. He is being charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm, aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, and carrying possession of a firearm. Berry was released Friday on a $75,000 bond. A Hammond man was sentenced on Tuesday following a conviction for producing child pornography. 42-year-old Adrian Gardner, who pled guilty to the charges, was sentenced to 25 years and 30 years of supervised release following a guilty plea on March 25th of 2021. The judge sentenced Gardner to 5 years more than prosecutors asked following the deal. Gardner allegedly traveled from Hammond to Cottage Grove, Wisconsin, west of Milwaukee near the state capital, Madison, after meeting the minor on the dating app Fling. There, he allegedly sexually assaulted a 12-year-old on numerous occasions in 2019. He had recorded the act at least 2 times. Gardner claims he initially thought the child was 18, but admitted he learned her age and continued the acts. According to reports, he tried to convince the child he was an 18-year-old who had siblings in foster care to win the girl's trust. He allegedly gave the minor alcohol and threatened their family. The victim allegedly ran away before Gardner was sentenced. The charges came following an investigation by the Cottage Grove Police Department, Indiana State Police, and the Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation. In other news, a fire in the South Shore apartment building left 9 people injured, including 2 children. The fire occurred around 9 a.m. Saturday at 7733 South Shore Drive near Rainbow Park. According to fire department officials, the flames went all the way to the roof of the building. Out of the 9 people injured, 5 were transported to area hospitals. A woman was the most serious injured and last reported in very critical condition. However, her condition was later stabilized. News stations report that the fire started in a corner of the building on the 4th floor and then spread. Firefighters rescued several people by ladder from the smoke-filled 6th floor. According to a resident, fires have occurred at least 3 times at the building. The remains of a woman who was found dead inside a burning home in Hammond have been identified. The fire occurred on June 7th around 12:53 a.m. at a home located on the 7300 block of Chestnut Avenue. The body was identified as that of 64-year-old Patricia Trinkle of Hammond. While the body was found with burns, the coroner's office has not yet determined the cause of her death. The cause of the fire also remains under investigation. A couple was rescued from drowning at the southern part of Rainbow Beach near the bush on Thursday. According to reports, a man aged 31 and a woman aged 32 were pulled from the water around 11:36 p.m. Reports indicate that the Chicago Fire Department and Marine units responded to the incident. However, details of the rescue are unclear, and it is uncertain whether they or someone else pulled the couple from the water. News reports indicate both were taken to Jackson Park Hospital after the incident and last reported in good condition. In national news, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and World Health Organization have begun raising warnings of a new, more contagious and deadly COVID-19 variant. B1617.2, otherwise called the COVID-19 Delta variant, was first discovered in India in December of 2020. It has become the most common strain both in India and in the United Kingdom and has been rapidly spreading, including in the U.S. Experts believe the variant is between 30 to 100% more infectious than other variants. In the UK, the Delta variant was shown to be 2.5 times more likely to infect children and adults under 50, leading to more severe symptoms and almost double the hospitalization rate. Symptoms for the Delta variant are also different. Headaches, sore throat, runny noses, and fever are more common with the new variant, while coughing and loss of smell that were common in earlier COVID-19 variants are less common, raising concerns that people may mistake their symptoms for a common cold. While vaccines can provide protection, the new variant has reportedly been spreading quickly among the unvaccinated. Reports are also starting to emerge of long-term effects of COVID infections, including loss of brain tissue and lung damage. In other local news, on Thursday, a Hammond police officer and U.S. Air Force combat veteran lost his fight with COVID-19. Thomas Sawyer was a U.S. combat veteran who survived Operation Desert Storm and tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. A 23-year veteran of the Hammond Police Force, family and friends remember Sawyer as a loving father who loved frontline service for the community. Sawyer contracted the virus while on duty for the police department. After a 5-week battle with the virus, Sawyer passed away. According to reports, the Hammond Police Department does not require vaccinations, and according to police union officials, Sawyer was the 20th officer to become infected with the virus. According to Indiana public health data, 35.5% of Hammond residents are fully vaccinated. The service with full line of duty honors will take place on Thursday at 11 a.m. at Bethel Church in Crown Point, Indiana. Sawyer is survived by a son and daughter. On Thursday, Reserve Management Group filed another court motion. According to the Sun-Times, RMG's lawyers said General Iron could have continued operating in Lincoln Park while Lightfoot's administration responded to a federal civil rights investigation launched last fall. However, according to RMG's attorney, the city did not attempt to call off its agreement with RMG or tell RMG to continue operating on the north side because it could not abide by the agreement. Instead, the city insisted RMG follow through on its promise to close operations in Lincoln Park and said a permit was imminent. The company is suing the city and alleges in its lawsuit that it has spent $80 million to build a new facility, and unless it can begin operations, it is financially vulnerable. In response to the suit earlier in the month, the city has claimed that RMG is not entitled to a permit and that giving the green light before pollution studies are done could potentially hurt the health of nearby residents. A motion was also filed by lawyers for Pastor Richard Martinez, Jocelyn Rangel, and Ronnie Nicole Faison, who previously filed a failed federal injunction to stop the facility. Their latest motion was filed to support the city's defense. During the week, a CBS News investigation uncovered news of an unwelcome development in Chicago's speed camera usage. According to the report, the city's recent change of automatic ticketing from 10 miles per hour to 6 miles per hour resulted in hundreds of thousands of tickets being issued. On March 1st, the city began issuing tickets based on the change. According to the report, citywide tickets went from 35,794 in the 5 weeks before the change to 398,233 in the 5 weeks after, resulting in over $871,000 in fines. 10th Ward residents were among those impacted. The camera on Ewing Avenue went from having 254 tickets issued to 3,266. The camera on 95th towards Kell Park went from 127 to 3,234. And the camera on Indianapolis Boulevard went from issuing 1,691 tickets to 9,708. In other news, organizers in Hammond have announced that the Pierogi Fest will return on July 23rd. The parade portion of the fest, hosted by the Whiting Robertsdale Chamber of Commerce, will begin at 7 p.m. A new route was announced for the parade that will run entirely in Robertsdale. It will begin at Forsyth Park and end at Atchison Avenue near the festival. And finally, during the week, residents throughout the area held Juneteenth celebrations. Among the celebrations was an event held at Bradley Park in Jeffrey Manor. Juneteenth has been celebrated by Black Americans for generations in commemoration of the end of slavery in the U.S. Following U.S. President Abraham Lincoln's announcement of the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, and the end of the Civil War in April of 1865, it still took months for U.S. states to finally end slavery. In Texas, Confederate troops still did not concede defeat until June. On June 19th, over 2,000 Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, to force the emancipation of slaves and enforce the transition of power. While slavery still existed until the 13th Amendment was issued in December of 1965, the event was seen as a defining moment in U.S. slavery. 1 year later, on June 19th, in 1866, the first annual celebration of what became known as Jubilee Day in Texas by free slaves commemorated the event. The celebrations would later be adopted by others throughout the U.S. as part of civil rights work in the 60s and 70s. On June 17th, U.S. President Joe Biden signed a bill making Juneteenth a U.S. federal holiday. And that ends our weekly review for June 14th through June 21st, 2021. To all our family and friends, happy Juneteenth. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.